There's 3 releases I'm waiting on for the rest of the year. The Architect by Idola, Joseph Anderson's video on The Witcher 3, and last but certainly the most hopeful, The Breaker Part 3. The Breaker is this amazing martial arts manhwa, and quickly became one of my favourites when I first went through it. The fights are big and flashy, the art gets across the power that these people are throwing around, and in only 72 chapters it tells this surprisingly engaging tale. It ran for 3 years, from 2007 till July 2010. Then, a few months later, the authors blast into a sequel, The Breaker New Waves. The original had this great ending, but certainly set up for something more to happen. The sequel goes on to expand the world and follow on directly from the fallout of the original. It ran from 2010 through to 2015, this time being 200 chapters long. Again, running through to another great ending, but setting up another sequel. Then, a few months later, the authors drop the series. They've got another series they want to go and work on before coming back to The Breaker Part 3. And the fanbase collectively said, "You what?" To understand, we'd been given 8 years of pretty consistent releases of The Breaker's world, the gap between parts being quite short, the story having a lot of open threads that needed closing off in a final part. At that time, we didn't know how long this other series would last, so The Breaker simply fell off a lot of people's radars. The series they went to work on was Trinity Wonder. I haven't read Trinity, so take this with a grain of salt, but a cursory search around the series says that it's nothing outstanding. A YouTube search will get you 2 videos before the algorithm starts tossing you garbage. The wiki hasn't been updated in about 3 years, i.e. half of Trinity's existence, and if you search reviews, 2 out of the top 3 hits on Google are people excited that it's finishing, so the authors can get back to The Breaker. I wouldn't really say that this is unexpected. The authors had built a fanbase around this series and created some obvious setups and payoffs for a part 3. Then, they left it for 6 years and the fanbase drifted away, unsure when part 3 would drop, or even if it ever would. Then the main artist went and picked up another series, Promised Orchid, and this was another blow to the fans. The comment at the start was that The Breaker Part 3 would follow Trinity Wonder, and now you've picked up another series that we have to wait to end as well. Now, I fall on both sides of this hiatus. Younger me was an ass because I'm sure one of the reasons I didn't pick up Trinity Wonder is that I didn't want to support it. I didn't want to help prolong a series that was actively stopping me from getting what I really wanted, which is Part 3. I'm sure I'm not alone in that, but I still think it's a pretty juvenile way to look at things. Admittedly, that was the angle that I took. The authors were being flippant with their fans and abandoning the series that built their fandom, and it felt like a slap in the face. Then, picking up Promised Orchid was just making us wait even longer. Current me is far more forgiving to the authors. Creative burnout is absolutely a thing. If the authors needed this time to go and work through some of the ideas that they wanted to play with but wouldn't fit into The Breaker, then all power to them. I'd much rather have a strong Part 3 after a delay than some rushed, limp ending to the series. Likewise, I don't know how much manga artists earn. If you needed to pick up extra work in Promised Orchid to keep the lights running, I'm not gonna stop you. I will probably jump through Trinity Wonder and Promised Orchid before Part 3 to see what they're all about, but for the moment, they're gonna remain on the to-read list. So, where does that leave us with Part 3? Where does the hope come from that it's on the way? Well, the plan was for the authors to pick up with The Breaker after the end of Trinity Wonder. With Trinity having finished, the main artist let us know that things were being worked on back in January. The key words here are that the aim was to get Season 3 published in the second half of the year, i.e. now. Shortly after, he put the word out for an assistant to help out, specifically for The Breaker Season 3. Then dropped a few more clues that The Breaker was quietly being worked on behind the scenes as Promised Orchid finished. On the 23rd of July, we got some certainty. This is from the artist's Naver blog, which finally gave us the confirmation. So, it is on the way. It looks like they're taking a scroll style instead of pages, which will be interesting. It's a big style change from the prior 2 parts. From the sound of things, it makes it much easier for the artist, so I don't really mind. Make it easy for yourselves, authors, and just commit to it, because the fans have been waiting, and not all of us still have hope. Also, English versions of the original manga are finally being made widely available with the Omnibus edition. It used to be quite hard to track down those English copies, but the release of the Omnibus is a good indication that something was happening with the series. Hopefully this will follow with new waves getting the same treatment. Not everyone in the community is excited though. 6 years is a long time to wait for a series to be returned to. The general vibe at the moment is, okay, you've confirmed that it's coming, but we've been burned before. There is hope, but we're not going to dive all the way in until you set us a specific release date or give us the first chapter. This is how the community is feeling, and while some I think go a bit too far, like the change.org petition, there is some real genuine disbelief here. We want to read and enjoy this series, but the wait has been too long, and we don't want to start hoping again, only to be let down. Where do I sit? I think it's coming. While I'm skeptical of it arriving this year, I'm expecting the first chapter to drop early next year. I'm tentatively excited for where the story is going to go, and am even making a bingo card of expectations for part 3. If I'm wrong, and the authors are just baiting us to go and work on something else, then I probably will give up on the series. I don't think that's likely, but that's where I sit, and I know a lot of fans of the series are feeling the same way. So, with hope, I look forward to seeing The Breaker Part 3 drop sometime soon. Thanks for watching. This has been CG, and I'll see you Gs in the next one.